can I actually segue into something? Because
Yeah.
like you had talked about languages. You kind of like touched upon that, and I wanted to, for the Viking fam, kind of highlight where we are in your story.
Yeah.
Okay, you were like, hey, I want to go to Bulgaria. You convinced your government to create a scholarship
Yes.
to go to Bulgaria, and you're around age 17 now, right?
Yeah.
And so you're going to Bulgaria. You don't speak Bulgarian and you
No.
don't speak English.
No.
So you've burnt the bridges again, but now you're in a country
Woo.
where there was a story that you shared with ABC Education where you were talking about you went to the store to buy a mop. Can you
Yes.
tell us a little bit about that and like how that changed your perception around language?
Absolutely. So I go to Bulgaria to study in Bulgaria, and I was so excited about the violin and everything else. I just didn't really think about like the code, where I'm gonna live, the like how far is it. I didn't know where Bulgaria was in the map. I didn't know like Bulgaria is like Cyrillic alphabet. I didn't know how to read Bulgarian. All my lessons, everything was in Bulgarian. So I was like, okay, I will cross that bridge once I get there. I get to Bulgaria, and
Minor
I
details. Minor
minor
details.
details. I really like I couldn't read, I couldn't understand anything. So what a normal person does, I bought a dictionary, and I was really trying to like learn a few words, and I was getting by like few very first few days. And I also didn't know that in every country they have a different type of mop, because at that point I have only lived in Brazil. And if you don't know that, if you're looking for the same mop that you use in America here in Australia, you're not gonna find it. Um, so so in
So pro tip,
Bulgaria,
listeners. Pro
pro
tip.
tip. And at that time in Bulgaria, like we didn't have like massive stores where you could buy everything. It was like you have the shops where they sell chocolates, you have the shops where they sell cleaning products, then the shops where they sell like boutique stuff. So I go to one of those stores, and I really want to buy a mop for my room that I got in Bulgaria. Cleaning and all, couldn't communicate, so doing those things. And I get to this store and I'm looking around and I don't find like the exact thing that we have in Brazil. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, I cannot find it. And then the the vendor comes to me, and I try like with mimics and like, yeah, like trying to do mimics, and that story just like escalates because she cannot understand me, I cannot understand her, and then she calls a neighbor that calls another neighbor, and everyone's there watching me like doing this mimics, and it's something so small when you think about it, but at that point I was so humiliated that I was like making this big performance. Everyone was watching, and I couldn't buy a freaking mop because I couldn't communicate. So at that point, I left the store and I'm crying. I'm in tears because I could not find what I was looking for. And I promised to myself, never, ever again, I'm not going to understand and I'm not going to be understood. So I decided that I was going to do whatever it took for me to learn Bulgarian, and if I had to, I was going to learn other languages as well. So I started learning Bulgarian, and in 3 months I was speaking Bulgarian enough to like do my exams and like and get by and like really communicate. And I remember like my first exam, guys, it was a nightmare. It was a subject called Instrumento Znanie, which is like the science of instruments. And I've never seen the subject anywhere else but Bulgaria. But what we had to do is we had to learn like how every instrument works, and also we had to learn like, okay, so you have to tell me like how many strings a harp has, how does it work, how many like whatever, and how do you write a glissando for a harp, how do you change
Mhm.
like you have to know everything about every instrument. And
Wow.
for me to study for this exam, I remember the book was like so big, and I had my dictionary on the side, so at the same time that I was learning the subject, I was learning the language. It was crazy. And I put a personal goal to myself. Like the project didn't even say that, but I really wanted to like show that I was doing my best and I was committed. So I wanted to take a good mark on that exam, my first one. And I go to the exam and I'm so nervous. I literally have to get off the bus to throw up. and and I get to the exam, and all exams in Bulgaria are oral exams, so there is no faking in Bulgaria. So what happens is you go in groups of 2 or 3 people. The teacher asks you to come in. You draw a paper which is gonna tell you like, okay, what you have to say, and you're in front of the teacher and he's asking like, okay, tell me about the clarinet. Sorry, tell me about the clarinet. How does it work? And he starts asking you questions. Like, you cannot fake. You have to know things. So I
No
go
faking
there.
notes in Bulgaria.
No faking notes in Bulgaria. No, no, no.
We would not. No podcast. No podcast in Bulgaria.
No podcast.
So first day I go to the exam, I am sick, so sick to my stomach. And I'm trying with my dictionary again. There was no smartphones at that time, guys. And I'm trying to look out for the word like throw up to tell the teacher that I was sick. And I'm just like, oh, again, mimics. Oh, I didn't know how those words. And then it's like, okay, like we're gonna take a while here. Come back tomorrow, because sometimes for the same exam they take like several days because every student gets marked individually. And I go back next day, and I studied every classical instrument. I'm like, okay, I know everything. I sit down and I get accordion. And I'm like,
Oh no.
accordion, that's so dead. And I'm like, okay, what can I say about the accordion in Bulgarian? Like,
That's gonna be a catchphrase of mine from now. What am I gonna say about accordion in Bulgarian?
What can you say about accordion in any language? Like that's the.
And then immediately I think like, oh, Piazzolla, I can relate to like
Bandoneon.
Bandoneon, yeah. And then I start like saying some things there, and I thought like it was really lucky that the dude sitting next to me, he got clarinet, but he didn't know anything. And me thinking ahead, I was like, well, I know it. I didn't know much about the accordion, but I knew about the clarinet. So the teacher's like, okay, you can say it. So I start speaking about the clarinet. And then like it's a crazy exam anyways, but I did the exam, took the got the highest grade, and like I was really thriving with, yeah, thank you. And in Bulgaria the exams like go from, you can have a 0 and the max score is a 6. So got a 6 on that one.